Gonna try something a little different today. That's not bad. So I'm gonna say the name of a movie, and then you're gonna come up with, just in your head, just an idea of what it might be about, okay? Llamageddon. Nope. You're completely wrong. I really don't feel like I have to explain why I was drawn to this movie just by the title, but like absolutely no part of me regrets watching it. I just wish I knew more about it. There's no budget listed for this movie, there's no crew list, there's no real cast list, there's no information about the production of it, so it's impossible to say where it came from, but that really only just makes me love it so much more. Now let me explain. Spoilers ahead, this movie's really bad. The movie just throws us right into the action with some flash animated scene, which I didn't even realize was part of the movie at first. I thought for the first like 10 seconds until I realized it was going on a little bit too long, I thought it was some sort of like production title card, but no, it's just part of the film. I think they wanted this part of the movie to be in some really high quality CG, but they just didn't have the budget for it, and I mean, I can't blame them, that sounds expensive, but like, clearly this movie had a budget. You'll see what I mean, but like, very clearly, they had money to spend. But we know that these llamas are alien because they're hatching out of eggs. I'm no vet, but I did see Emperor's New Groove, so I know that llamas aren't made that way. So the llamas go on their quest in some sort of Invader Zim styled heist thing, and then this one particular llama happens to crash on Earth on this quaint little farm. I like that they just masked in some glowy eyes for him so that we know he's evil. Like, it seems like they tried a little bit, but don't get your hopes up. And then we get the title card, again, in case you forgot what you were watching. Now we see this older couple on their farm doing whatever work. I don't really know how farming equipment works, but it seems like they're doing a real bang-up job. And then the wife points out the llama.
See that?
What? Nothing. It's just a llama at a different time, at a different place, on a different day. And I like that you can tell that this was shot on a really windy day because there's no audio coming from the microphone at all. There's no wild sound or anything like that, except for when they're talking. And even then you can tell that like the wind's just tearing up the microphone. You can tell that this movie was just riddled with production errors, but they just kept going. They decided to ignore it, which by all accounts is a deadly mistake. Because it comes in and kills them while they're sleeping. We are not even 5 minutes into the movie and we've already killed 2 characters. Sign me up. I'm feeling it. I'm down. I'm ready. Let's go. The next thing we see is some scientists examining the spaceship, which is what I'm going to call it, even though it's just, I don't know, livestock transportation. Accompanied by the actual shakiest drone shot in the history of cinema, or so I thought. No, actually they just put the camera in the helicopter and flew around and just got some of the worst footage they possibly could. Like, why not rent a drone? If you have the money to rent a helicopter out for the day, you probably have the money to rent out a drone pilot for the day too. But, I mean, I'm not going to get hung up on that. There's a lot more things to get hung up on in this movie. This guy just gets out of the helicopter and starts barking orders at seemingly nobody. We don't see anybody respond. And then just gets back in the helicopter. And then that's it. That's the last we see of this guy. Tone shift. Now we're at the cemetery where those farmers from earlier are getting buried. And, plot twist, they're our main character's grandparents. I'm sorry. I mean, they're Mimon. Wow, this shot really, it keeps going, doesn't it? Here we meet Floyd and Mel, our main characters in this cinematic masterpiece, and they're talking about the funeral and why wasn't Dad there, and then it smash cuts to him hooking up with a girl half his, oh my god! Also, I'm gonna take this time to point out that don't her hands look like they're dyed a faint red, just a little bit? I wonder what that could be. So the mom tells the kids that they're gonna have to stay in their grandparents' old house until they get their will situated.
Well, it couldn't have been an animal. I don't know how they could have gotten...
Now Floyd doesn't seem to believe that it was an animal that killed their grandparents, and he actually thinks that it was a murderer. God, I love Floyd. Don't ever change, buddy. So Mom directly tells them,
don't be treating it some like college frat house. I know what goes on there. I'm not stupid. I've been to college.
Mom, I'm not stupid either.
So of course, so as they're unpacking their car, Floyd gets his first look at the llama, and immediately he's like, something's wrong here. I don't think they had a llama before.
Who cares, Floyd?
Why does everybody hate Floyd? Give the kid a break. He's just doing his best. So to be clear, they're staying at their grandparents' place indefinitely, and all they brought was like a lunchbox and a beach bag. That's all they brought with them.
God, Floyd, shut the door.
And I also like how Floyd walks like this, all hunched over. Like, that's real commitment to the character. And one of the things that I just love about this scene is that you can totally see the Canon LPE6N battery charger just right there on the wall, just blinking its heart away. Where's our script supervisor? The mom lets it slip that, like, Floyd's kind of a bedwetter.
Mom, you said you wouldn't tell anyone.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry.
And then we get these, what's up with these weird, really close-up shots? This isn't the first time this has happened. Why? What is with this? And then the mom leaves. Bye, Mom. Also, why is there a dog in the shot? It's not part of the movie. We never see it again. You're telling me they could get a llama wrangler and not wrangle the dog? And then immediately Mel starts calling all of her friends, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly how this scene was filmed. Something like, hey Josh, hey Brian, hey Zeus, hey Mary, hey, and like they just cut it, they just kept cutting it, so it looked like she was calling a lot of people and having a lot of conversation. And I love how, and then I love how she goes,
Hey, Zeus. Hey.
like she's not even sure that that's what she wanted to say, but they kind of kept it in anyway. While this is happening, Floyd goes sulking around outside, literally just sulking around outside, and then he stumbles upon a combiner, or a combiner, or whatever it's called. I don't know how farm terminology. But gee, I wonder if that's gonna be important. Then we see the scientists again in their short-sleeved lab coats and open-toed shoes, like real professionals. So we have two of these guys talking, and I love this scene so much because neither of them seem particularly interested, nor do they seem to really care about what they're saying or about science in general, but they're acting like they're supposed to care. The dude bro in the sunglasses just seems like he was pulled in off the street and asked to just concur with whatever the other scientist is saying. He doesn't have anything to contribute at all, really, except he shows him this little egg thing. That'll come into play a little bit later. And then sincerely, I wish I could make up what happens next. For about 5 seconds, this is all that we see. This is where I completely lost it when I watched it for the first time. Like, there's no way this movie is real. I know they probably meant to get a time lapse of the sun setting on the house, but then they just didn't. But on the other hand, I also really like the idea that they were just like, yeah, that's good enough. They get the idea. We'll just put time lapse up here, and then they'll know that there was a time jump. Man, this movie's gold. This movie's gold. And we get a scene of them all partying and, you know, just going absolutely wild.
Drop your drawers, drop your drawers, drop your drawers, drop your drawers, drop.
And then, of course, we have Floyd just trying to be responsible, just trying to get everybody to use coasters, you know. But then I want to show you one of the best bits of the movie. Dan. In every scene that Dan's in, he's wearing a different shirt and sometimes a completely different outfit from one shot to the next. I want to say that this was done intentionally by the director, but that would have required some actual, like, forethought and planning to go into this.
Just can't believe that Pluto's not a planet anymore.
I'm sorry. I hear that Uranus is pretty bare, though.
Around here is when I notice a lot of the dialogue is likely improvised, because these girls are just talking about how, oh, it sucks that Pluto's not a planet, but Uranus is pretty clean, right? Like, that's just, you can tell that, like, it wasn't written. They were just trying to come up with something interesting to say on the spot. There's a lot of weird stuff about this movie, but we haven't even gotten to, like, the weird stuff in this movie. Mel and Dan have a conversation about trying to get Floyd laid, which isn't exactly going great. And then in the middle of the conversation, they just break out into dance. For no reason. I don't know. I thought I was having a stroke when I saw this. This goes on for a whole minute, by the way. Them just dancing. The whole movie just comes to a stop while they go dancing. And then they just wrap up the conversation and go back to normal. That's it. What is this movie? What were they going for? And how far off the mark were they? If even at all. Now, as one girl's on her way to the party, she comes face to face with the llama. This is the best movie I've ever seen. At the party, Mel is on Operation Get Floyd Laid, and so she's like, just make this girl a drink. She'll be nice, and don't forget to smile. But then she proceeds to make what looks like 2 shots of bourbon, some weak beer, a bit of someone else's drink, and some Coke. If someone handed me this drink in real life, I would just throw it up on them. One of our guys, Cody, goes out to have a pee, and then he sees the llama and does the whole run back in to the house, back up against the door thing. Something I've done, by the way. Which, of course, nobody believes him. They're in a horrible movie.
You mean horror?
No, I don't. Floyd tries to break out of his shell and play one of the drinking games with everyone, which, by the way, way to go, Floyd. You gotta do one thing every day that scares you. Remember, a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. You're only confined by the walls you build yourself. And you know, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Cody's friends try to calm him down a little bit. One of them offers to pack him a bowl, and what the fuck? Was that the only good take they got? Was that it? Why was this what made the cut? Anyway, another guy goes outside and gets his fingers bitten off by the llama, except it's really clear that he's doing just this, and they didn't even try to hide it. And then his girlfriend comes out, and I guess it stabs him through the chest with its hoof, and ejects his still beating heart across the yard into his girlfriend's hands. And then it goes for her, and just starts wailing on her. This movie's incredible. So Floyd, my man, finally makes a real human connection, and he goes off to some bedroom to do with this girl. Then I think the writer, or whoever was in charge of this story, was like, I have to kill 80% of the characters right now, but I don't know how. And so they all get into a hot tub, and the llama just throws a radio in and shocks all of them, which takes so long. It goes on for a while. This takes so long, and then after it's done, these other two girls come up and they like hold hands and get in the hot tub at the same time, because I guess they've got like a suicide pact or something. Like, what are you thinking? Like, they totally knew they were gonna die. Look at their faces. They totally knew they were gonna die. Sorry if it seems like I'm leaving out details. I am. I don't want to make another 30-minute video. So Dan comes back in yet another shirt after seeing all of his friends dead in the hot tub, and he seems more upset that there's a bunch of dead bodies in the hot tub, and not that those dead bodies are his friends.
Excuse me?
Everyone is dead in the hot tub. Hot tub.
When Mel and her boyfriend go to investigate, they just kind of walk off screen and have a conversation, almost like they just didn't want to film one extra scene. And then they come back like just film the scene. Like, they couldn't be bothered to film just one extra scene of them looking in the garage. I think this was particularly lazy, especially for the bar that this movie has set so far. They try and call 911, but nobody has any service.
Call 911.
That one single bar, bro.
I don't have any signal, Floyd.
You don't have any service?
I have no service.
But like, two things. One, shouldn't Mel? She literally called everybody here to get to this party. Dude, don't old people live here? You want me to believe that Mima and Pep Pep don't have a landline? Nope. I don't buy it. That's where you lost me. So they go outside, and then this is when things start to get really hairy. The llama finds them and just starts killing them indiscriminately. And by that I mean, of course, killing a black character first. The way that the llama kills is just spectacular. There's the lasers, the explosion, the super soaker full of fake blood. Man, this movie has everything. Everybody just gets pelted with streams of fake blood, and then Trent starts throwing up more liquid than a human body can actually hold. I also really like that they used real practical fire. Like, they actually set their own lawn on fire for this. I mean, you gotta applaud that kind of commitment to the bit. Then the llama spits some green paint on Trent, which I thought was gonna be like acid or something, but no, it just turns him into a human llama hybrid.
I'm a fucking llama man!
Only now that their friends are dead do they remember that their grandparents were in fact old, and they had a landline. And so they do the rational thing and call their dad. Now that Trent is like transformed, they all run into the woods, you know, the safe place. But they leave someone behind, and it looks like Slushy. As they run for their lives, the llama fires lasers at them, misses, and it creates a pretty sizable explosion. Is that a real firework? Did they actually have actors run at a firework in the dark and detonate them without probably a verbal cue? Why was that okay? Who okayed that? So what we want you to do is run in that general direction, and then you'll just see the firework explode. Don't worry. We got it figured out. You're safe. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I also think it's really funny that they clearly only had the one firework and then just set up a bunch of cameras around to make it look like they had a couple different angles of it. They even used the same exact shot a couple of times to really drive that fact home. When they abandon Trent in the woods, because duh, we get another incredible animated scene where he, I guess, completes his transformation into the weird, disgusting hybrid. And while this is going on, I gotta say, the voice acting is just...
No! What are you doing? No! What is it? This is not fun! This is not fun! No!
I love that as he's getting attacked, he's screaming, "This isn't fun!" Instead of, actually being terrified. Our heroes stumble upon the spaceship, and immediately Floyd knows exactly what's up. He looks at it and he goes,
It's a spaceship.
Floyd, we're not on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's not a spaceship.
well, one of those things is definitely true.
Things like a spaceship. It's red like a spaceship. It's crass like a spaceship. So it must. There is something out there.
Floyd clearly fumbles his lines a lot, but he's actually really trying in this, it seems. And he's the only actor in this movie with an actual headshot on their IMDb page. So he's taking this opportunity to shine, and good on you, man. Good on you. I respect that. This is one of those moments in the movie that made me really just wonder, what are they doing? What were they doing with this movie? They're clearly not trying to pass this ship off as real. We can see the duct tape. But he reaches out and grabs the Mark McGuire Vortex Power baseball bat wrapped in tinfoil because I guess he thinks it's gonna be a weapon or something.
It's a goddamn space stick.
Oh, sorry. It's a space stick. What do you think that's gonna accomplish? Oh, it's actually useful. How about that? Then he gives a kind of cute Valiant adjacent monologue and dies. Barely mourning the loss of their friends, they go and they hide in this barn just as their dad arrives to help them. So he goes in and he follows them. The kids go to hide, and then he grabs his shotgun and starts walking around. All while there is this disgusting scene of Trent giving birth to egg after egg after egg after, and it's like clearly a really painful experience, and it's hard to watch. This was like easily the worst part of the movie for me, at least. And then as soon as Trent sees him, he gives actually a pretty good line delivery.
Kill me!
Then the llama attacks him in revenge, in just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And I've seen this movie. Then the kids have a really bad heart-to-heart. Like, I'm pretty sure he forgets his sister's name, but that's not part of the script. He actually kind of looks like he clearly flubbed it, but they just kind of ran with it. And then she talks for a while about him being a good big man baby brother.
I really am beginning to see you as a man. A little man, but a man. You're my little man brother, and I'm proud to call you my man brother, Floyd. I'm really proud to call you a man, a little man brother.
These kids are terrible. Then, just before the llama kills the kids, Dad comes by in, who'd have guessed, the combiner, and just eats him up. I feel like in any other movie this would have been a really cathartic, but instead it's actually just hilarious. And as the llama dies, they set another sizable fire on the lawn, which, as a Californian, makes me particularly nervous. So then the dad dies. I don't think they knew how to end this movie because the kids just look up for a long time, a lot longer than you would think. And then that's it. So I have a lot of feelings about this movie. I actually couldn't stop thinking about it from the time that I watched it to the time that I finished the script. I've never understood how someone could love a movie like The Room or Food Fight or one of those, really famous bad movies until I watched this movie. Seriously, I had to rewatch it when I was writing the script, and I had just as good a time on the rewatch that I did on the first time. I think the credits really are the icing on the cake for this movie. Number one, the ending track to this movie is a Llamageddon rap, which basically summarizes the whole plot of the movie as well as a little bit of the credits. Nope. Weren't expecting that, and to my great disappointment, no, it's not on Spotify. The little side clips next to the credits is just the movie all over again, in case you wanted to see it a second time. A lot of actors in this movie use names like Mary Had a Lamb, E.B. Buxner, Chet Stedman, Gooch Jesco III, Alan Smitty, and my personal favorite, Howie Doohan, as well as the rest of the Doohan family. Which just tells me that everybody who was working on this knew it was going to be terrible, but still pushed through it and made it anyway. Well done. The special thanks in this movie include the Llama Association of America, which doesn't exist. I think they were rejected by the Llama Association of North America, the Bush Brewing Company, and the Dalai Lama, as it is spelled here. And finally, it says that no llamas were harmed in the making of this movie, just the dignities of all involved. And I think that's just the best way to end the movie. I think my biggest problem with this movie is that I just want to know more about it. There is no information about this movie at all. What was the budget? Clearly they had one. You can't go blowing up cars and setting lawns on fire without money. Was this car donated? Or if so, there's paperwork that has to go into destroying a vehicle like that. I think. Who were these people? Where did any of this take place? What was this for? Was it some practical joke, or was it some university project? And if so, I really want to know how it was received. I have nothing but questions about this movie, and I want answers now more than ever. If you somehow don't believe me, or if you like bad movies as much as I do, you should totally watch it on Amazon Prime. It's only an hour long. So I actually just learned this about the movie, and I had to put it in because I'm really bummed that I just learned this after I've already filmed. On the official Facebook page, it points out that when this movie first went on sale on Amazon Prime, it was sold, you could only watch it for $1 million. That's not a joke. You could only watch this movie for the price tag of $1 million, and then they released it for free after, I think it's December 20th or something like that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. This movie cost $1 million, and that's why nobody has talked about it yet. And I love that. That makes me love the movie even more. That makes me love this movie so much more than I would have before. That's incredible. That's just amazing. Anyway.